Hi everyone. So today I wanted to go over some of the questions that I got from my Ask Me a Question story a couple weeks ago. So some of the questions I've already been able to answer with the videos that I've done recently, but there's a lot of questions that I haven't answered yet. So I want to start with something that is definitely a big issue right now, and that's box color. So one of the questions that I got was, why is box color so bad? And there's a lot of reasons. So it's not just that us hairstylists hate box color because it's taking money from us. That's not it at all. The problem with it is that box color has to work on anyone and it's not customized to you. So it has to work on anyone from fine white hair to coarse resistant, black hair. And because of this, they formulate really strong, pretty harsh, and your results are pretty unpredictable. So, for example, when you buy a light brown box and you put it on your hair and it turns practically black, or you buy a soft blonde and it turns orange. This is because it's not customized to you whatsoever. So the problem with the way that they formulate is they use a lot of really strong and potent oxidative dyes. And with professional hair color, everything's very much controlled, measured, precise. With box color, they're just using whatever they can get in that batch, whatever's available for the best cost. So because of this, you might buy the same box color multiple times yet get different results, or you might buy a box color and not get the result at all that you were looking for. So when we go to lift this off with whitener, you come in, your light brown color actually looks black and you want it taken out. The problem is, because of the strong oxidative dyes that they use, when we lift that out, you may have, yellow at the root, a band of black in the middle, and then red ends with streaks of white going through. And that's completely out of our control. So sometimes, even with multiple sessions, a lengthy process to try and get this out, we may get in there and tell you we can't do anything, and you have to just grow it out and cut it off before we can do anything. Another thing that happens is with box color, they put metallic salts in, and so metallic salts give a cheap way to get big impact out of color. However, when that mixes with lightener, when we try to remove it, and I've seen this personally, it actually melts the hair. So I had a guest come in and she told me that she didn't have any box color on, but I could tell that there was something in there. So we did a strand test, just a small piece in an inconspicuous spot, put some lightener on, and within 2 minutes the hair was smoking. It was super hot in the foil, and the hair disintegrated in 2 minutes. So unfortunately, in that situation, we can't help you. If you have metallic salts in your hair from box color, we're going to have to do a strand test like that, tell you that we can't take it out without melting your hair off, and you're going to have to grow it out, and that's the only way to fix that. So people ask then, why can't we sell you professional color? And it's not that we're being stingy and we just don't want you to be able to color your hair unless we're doing it. It's literally illegal for a hairstylist or a salon to sell professional color to someone who is not a licensed professional. So every box, every tube says for professional use only, may not be, resold or sold individually. And so, as much as we would like to, these colors are, customized by a professional who's applying it properly, has all of the tools for whatever may come up, whatever we may need to do. And unfortunately, putting it into the hands of a consumer, you guys don't have those controls. And so it's not possible for us to get you professional hair color. So all we can do at this point is offer you temporary solutions, like some of the things that we suggested on the Cielo page to preserve your color. But unfortunately, we cannot get you any professional color. So I'm going to move on to another question. Someone asked, why do you use makeup brushes rather than your fingers for applying foundation? And that was a really interesting question, which I actually get asked a lot. So with your fingers, when you're applying foundation, as soon as your skin, your fingers touch your face, it starts excess oil production. So as soon as you start rubbing that on with your fingers, the contact causes your face to produce more oil. And what that will do is it'll cause the foundation to lift up off of the skin and not last throughout the day. So I always recommend using brushes for all of your makeup application. The only thing that I don't use a brush for is my eyeshadow primer, so my eyelid primer, and that's because that is an oil inhibitor. So the product itself is causing your skin to not produce the oil, so that your eyeshadow won't crease. But everything else, I always recommend use a brush. My next question I'm going to go over is why is my hair thinning, or why do I have hair loss? Is there anything I can do about it? So there's three main reasons why you might have hair loss. Stress is a big one. Another one is hormones. And then the third and most common is that you're not stimulating your scalp enough. So a lot of people think like, oh, I've had a lot of hair shedding or my hair's thinning. I can't brush it because it'll pull more out. That's completely the opposite of what you want to do. So you want to increase the amount that you're brushing, really massage the scalp. What that will do is it'll pull the blood to the surface and anchor your hair follicle. So all of our hair in our scalp is anchored by a follicle, and without blood flow to that, the hair will shed. So to keep it anchored, you really want to do scalp massages. Take the bristles of your brush and just massage your scalp while you're washing your hair. Really work it in, work that scalp to get that blood flow up. There's also scalp stimulating shampoos, conditioners, and treatments or products that help pull the blood to the surface and keep your hair anchored. The same goes for people who have dandruff. So that was another question I got, is what can I do for dandruff? A lot of people think that dandruff is dry scalp, when in fact it's a buildup of oil and product on your scalp. So scalp stimulation is huge to eliminate dandruff. Also stimulating shampoo and conditioner are important. So what you need to do is really manipulate the scalp, stimulate the follicles, get all that buildup off. So it gets worse before it gets better. Unfortunately, you have to kind of work it off. And then that will leave a healthy scalp that can breathe and not be congested anymore. So same thing, with dandruff, you really want to manipulate the scalp, brush your hair a lot, and unclog all of those follicles in your scalp. Another question kind of in the same subject is oily hair. What can I do for oily hair? Why is my hair oily? Now, with oily hair, a lot of times what has happened is you've dehydrated your hair from overwashing. So sometimes people will actually wash their hair every day or multiple times in a day because they feel like their hair is so oily, but you're actually just promoting more oil production. So the best thing to do for oily hair is to actually limit your shampooing. Use dry shampoo to absorb excess oil. When you do shampoo, use a volumizing shampoo, but not necessarily a clarifying, because you don't want to dry that hair out anymore. And I would go from shampooing every day to try and work yourself over a couple weeks' time to every third day. Your hair will look oily for a while, but it will adjust. So that's when people say, train your hair. That's what they mean. So another thing that I wanted to talk about was a question I got about curly hair. Why doesn't my hair curl the way it used to? So our hair is made up of keratin bonds, and it's like a chain. With curly hair, those bonds have bends in them, and that's what makes the curl pattern. So what can happen a lot of times is if you're using heat, and a lot of times if you're doing harsh chemical services like lightening your hair, the bonds will break. And so once those bonds break, you can't spring back into that curl pattern. So it's important for you curly-haired girls to consider, what's more important, being really blonde or having lighter hair, or preserving your curl. If the damage has already been done, it can be reversed, but it definitely takes a lot of really good product to multiply the bonds in your hair and repair, and some patience. So you're going to have to avoid the heat, avoid the harsh color, listen to your stylist about what the process will be to get your curl pattern back, but you can recover from it. Some people lose their curl because of hormonal changes, and unfortunately with that, all we can do is kind of mimic the curl with product and techniques like what I showed with the diffusing and the heatless waves. But yeah, I think that answers all of the questions I've gotten so far between what I've already answered in some videos and now. So please let me know if you have any other questions. I'm here for you, whatever you need. All right, stay in touch, everyone.